Hey, beautiful souls. Welcome back to another episode of Wholistic Conversations. I'm your host, Brittany. And if you're someone that's into self development or personal growth, then you're in the right place. Catch us every Monday as I release new episodes, bringing on different guests to inspire you to help you become the best version of yourself. All right, and every episode I bring on a phenomenal guest, and today is I'm bringing on a legendary soul that has impacted many of us through his music, through his activism, and even through his story. Okay, so help me in welcoming Londrelle.
Give thanks. All praises to the most. I'm so blessed to be here and now in conversation and communion, just to share energy, just to share the word of God, just to share the mission of life. You know, yes, I'm grateful. I'm blessed.
Yes,
Thank you.
yes, and it's definitely supposed to happen. I believe everything is in alignment. In today's episode, we're going to talk about how to build a connection with our inner self, our inner God, right? Because I'm listening to the album,
Right,
and it allows you to connect with yourself and God on a different level.
Yeah.
Because most times when we talk about God or the higher power, it's based on this religion, this Christianity aspect. So would you consider yourself a Christian?
Um, I seek to be Christ-like in my walk. I think that's the destiny of every Christian. But I do receive teachings from all world religions and all world scriptures. I am a lover of God more than anything. Yeah,
Yeah.
more than anything.
That's amazing. And I want to start off with the first song that I feel like resonated with me the most and the audience, because right now that's the most played song,
Yeah.
Kingdom Child.
How you know that?
I do my research.
You know. Okay.
Yes.
That's what's up. I appreciate that.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. So tell me about what was your inspiration behind that song?
Well, the music was really my inspiration. Really hearing the music and allowing it to inspire me. Like, I'm a person who lives in devotion for God, so I'm always wanting to give myself to God. I'm always wanting to speak to God. I'm always wanting to commune with God, and so music for me is my way of doing that. But what really inspired me initially was the instrumentality of the song. It was more different than any other song that I ever written to, any other music that I have written to in my catalog, and so it really inspired me to take myself to a higher level of expression. Yeah,
Okay. And then you have like Rev Ike on there.
yeah.
Right?
Actually, I really heard his voice while I was just writing the song, and I was like, this song sounds like something that Reverend Ike should be speaking to, and so I spent maybe 3 days writing the song and receiving the song and just perfecting the song, because I'm a writer, so I love to, there have been 3 or 4 versions of that song, and so I've broken it down, written it over. I didn't like certain versions, certain parts, certain punchlines, and so I would go back and rewrite it and re-express it until I feel like it was something that I can feel in my heart, feel in my soul, and so. When I was writing the song, I just kept hearing Reverend Ike, Reverend Ike, Reverend Ike, and so happened I just typed in Reverend Ike. That was the first clip of him that came up, and I was like, this is already perfect. I don't even have to go through it, so I just chopped it up to make it make sense in the pieces and in the parts in the middle of the song, and so it was magic after that. It was magic after that. I probably listened to that song probably 600 times before it even came out.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
That's me right now. When I get in the car, I'm like Kingdom Child. I'm playing that one. And I do love that because he gives a different philosophy of God.
Right, yeah.
Right? And I love the way he's able to tie like the Bible to the human aspect, like the human mind, the human experience, right? It's not it's not an outer body experience when you're talking about God.
Yeah.
When you talk about Rev, you know?
Yeah.
It's something inside. And I think one part of the song, he talks about like people in the religious community say that people, you're telling people to believe in themselves.
Yeah.
Like, what about God?
Yeah.
And he like,
Who do you think God is? Yeah.
I was like, ooh,
that's powerful.
That was
He was
powerful.
Spitting. He was spitting. Yeah, but it comes down to, like, that's the teachings of Christ. Like, I and my Father are one. So what does that mean? I am one with God always and eternally. And so it's just I don't think more Christians take the words of Jesus literally. They take it figuratively. to mean like something very basic, but it's true metaphysical teachings. And my guru, Padamahansa Yogananda, goes deeper into the teachings of Christ in his books, the Second Coming of Christ and the Yoga of Jesus. And so there are many prophets and many teachers and many preachers who have spoken the true word. I think just the way Christianity was given to us, it was a more watered down version, and we were subservient in those ages when we received Christianity. So we didn't really receive the metaphysics of Christianity. We received it on a more day to day level because being a slave, you don't have time to think about metaphysics. You're just trying to make it through the next day, and our ancestors was trying to make it through the next day, and so they didn't have the freedom that we have currently to really take our minds to these places and understand the true teachings. And so I do believe that America, in some sense, has done Christianity a disfavor in some sense because they've left out the metaphysics of the teachings. Which Christ's teachings are true spiritual teachings, and sometimes we can get lost in the fog. Yeah.
Ooh, look, we already getting.
Yeah, we got to get to it. We got to get to it. It's about that time.
Yes, because it's important, and I think that your message is needed.
Yeah.
Because we need to understand who we are as humans.
Yeah.
And I think that's the part we're missing, right? A lot of what we experience is outer body. It's, I got to get this done, it's material. But once you realize everything that you need is already within you, and then you can really manifest your dreams. Yeah. And it sounds so unreal, right?
Yeah.
So tell me about like your walk into your spirituality. Like if you was to go back in your memory bank and think about the time you was like, oh, I felt it then, or I knew about that then.
I've always been curious. My whole life I've always been curious and quiet, so that makes for an introspective person to really just see themselves in a different way. But I didn't really come into liking any religion or spirituality until about 2016. When me and a friend did a run from Atlanta to St. Louis, Missouri, in protest of police brutality and to raise awareness for the situation with Michael Brown and the cop that killed him on his own street. And so running 680 miles or so from Atlanta to St. Louis put me in a more, I would say, an awakened state because I was running every day, doing something every day for a greater purpose and a greater mission. It kind of like cracked the code for me, just unlock myself. Like, you work out, I'm sure you work out. When you're working out, you just get in a zone, you just get in a flow state, and you just feel like you are one with creation almost. And so doing that for 21 days, every day, running like 30, 40 miles, that really does something to your mind. That really does something to your body. All your cells awaken, all of your all the parts of your brain awaken and begin to awaken. So you begin to tap into a more omnipresent consciousness, a more omnipresent awareness, and I began to seek more. I began to seek more out of myself. I began to, question God, really question God. Like, how can all of these atrocities happen? And you just allow it to happen. And so that really led me to, through a season of spiritual seeking, I completely cut off relationships. I was celibate for 6 years. I went plant-based, vegan diet, really just searching for God. And so that was my initial journey in stepping into spirituality, was my wanting to do something for human beings, my wanting to do something for our community, my wanting to do something for people who look like me, sound like me, because that could have been my little brother. And so me wanting to change the world and some type of way. From what I was seeing, and they say if you can't change the world, change yourself, and you can't change the world unless you change yourself. And so it was a self transforming process for me. And I did it a second time, and the second time was in protest for Sandra Bland. And I ran to Washington, D.C. by myself this time, and I found the Bhagavad Gita, which is a very spiritual text. And I studied that for 5 years. And I met my guru, Padamahansa Yogananda, and I became initiated in Kriya Yoga. And that led me to the re-understanding and the remembering of the teachings of Jesus Christ, Yeshua ben Joseph.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay, this is good because we about to take it back.
Yeah.
Because once I heard that you ran from, where were you? Atlanta?
Atlanta, yeah.
Atlanta to D.C. and then Atlanta to...
Yeah, Atlanta to St. Louis the first time, and then Atlanta to D.C. the second time.
Okay,
yeah.
Okay. And so you were born in Atlanta?
I was born in Florida. I'm from a small city outside of Orlando called Winter Garden, Florida.
Okay.
Yeah.
And if I am correct, I remember watching an interview of you talking about your childhood,
Yeah.
and you were in a dysfunctional relationship with a lady. Is that correct?
In my childhood,
Yeah. Or
yeah.
was it childhood, teenage years?
Um, well, my whole I can't. I mean, there was
You like
tons of dysfunctional relationships with women in my life, but my mother growing up, it was a very dysfunctional season of my life, 17 years of my life, just abusive because her mother was abusive, and abusive because my grandmother's mother was abusive. So it goes
Right.
back generations and generations of abuse, and
And when you say abuse
yeah,
happen in so many ways,
yeah,
right?
physically,
Physical,
emotionally,
mental,
yeah.
so what type of abuse were you experiencing?
Physical abuse, verbal abuse, and emotional abuse because of the physical and emotional. And so I grew up to be very introverted, very quiet. I wasn't really quiet, but I was just afraid. I was just afraid. And I lived in fear of my mother for the entire time that I lived at home.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And would you say that, like, for the audience to really understand, because, like, for me personally, I dealt with physical abuse because it's discipline. Your
Yeah.
parents disciplining you, and they think, well, this is how we
Yeah.
discipline, so I call it physical abuse,
Yeah.
right? And then mental abuse because my parents felt like, well, the world is gonna talk about you,
Yeah.
so we might as well you go
Yeah, might as
here,
well get it, do it. You might as well
yeah,
do it now.
might
Yeah.
as well do it now so you
Yeah.
can see what the world is like, and that's a form of mental abuse. So like, always, kind of talking down on me, and
Yeah.
it's like if somebody gave me a compliment, it was like, don't hype her head up.
Yeah.
So I always humbled myself, and now I'm also, what I'm saying, going through the journey of unhumbling and embracing it and embodying who I
Yeah.
am. So give me like some examples of times where you can say like, okay, in childhood I experienced this type of physical abuse or this type of mental abuse, so we can really connect with the
I mean,
audience.
there wasn't like any day in my life, which is crazy, that I remember don't not getting beat, like hit, physically hit by my mother just because she was angry. She was a teenage mom, 16, 17. I just don't remember much of my childhood, but I don't remember any good days in my childhood saying that I did not get like physically abused for whatever reason. Being a child, being a kid, and you just being a child, being a kid, and doing what kids do, and just being physically abused and verbally abused as well. My mom she would always, because I was inward and and reserved, she was always she would always call me names, and she would always, put me down. And so like I had to, refine myself because, throughout childhood, the first 7 years of your life, you receive all of that programming, and that's what you have for the rest of your life. And so all that subconscious programming. And so, excuse me. Yeah, I don't remember a time when there was no physical, no verbal. It was every day for 17 years of my life, and so I don't remember not a day that we had a good day in my home.
Right.
Yeah, just truly,
Did
just
you all go
honestly.
to church?
We did, but it was like you can't take me to church and say that there's this all loving God and then take me back home and beat me. Like that doesn't make sense. It doesn't click. Make it make sense, And so, yeah, I went to church, but I didn't listen because I feel like I didn't really have a relationship with God because in my home, my mother is God to me. And how is this person treating me that is reflective of the relationship that I have with God or she has with God? How is this something to look forward to? How is this something to receive?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think we all go through those type of traumas,
Yeah.
right? I remember, being physically abused by my dad, disciplining me. And I'm like, but then you tell me don't date a man to hit me.
Yeah.
But then it's like, you're my father, you're hitting me. So make that make sense.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So I think that's really brave of you to take on the journey of self-discovery, right?
Yeah. I mean, life will force you. Life is for that. And so if you don't, I refuse to be just another number. That's why I switched up this music so much because, there's people that look like me, that's where I'm from, that don't resonate with my old catalog of music, but they would resonate with more of this music because it comes from that space. I'm speaking to my youngest self. I'm speaking to my younger self. And so, I use the words that I use because it would resonate with my younger self to bring them out of that space. And so I wish I had the music that I make now in that space because it's affirmative, it's enlightening, it's enlivening, it's awakening. Yeah.
Yes. Ashe, snaps.
Yeah, big snaps. Yeah.
Yes, that's so beautiful. So I wanna talk about love, right? You have a song called is all about love.
Only love is
Only
real.
love is
Only love
real.
is real.
Yes. And
Yeah.
so I've been having this conflicting thought, right?
Yeah.
In my experience, always associated love with pain. Like that, they just go together. There's
Yeah.
no way you can take the two apart because of the household I grew up in. It was like, no, people are human.
Yeah.
People make mistakes. Mistakes come with pain.
Yeah.
And then that's just the human experience.
For sure.
And so I really went deeper and like, no, that's not the truth, right? Like, yes, both exist, right? Pain and love, or fear and love. But ultimately, we can choose to operate in love.
Right, yeah.
You get what I'm saying? And I'm like, wow, so love don't have to be pain, because love, if you have a healthy relationship with yourself and the other person, you can have a very harmonious love. Not saying that it's love without disagreements, right? But it's a way to disagree, right? So tell me about love.
First of all, only love is real. And once you realize that, we begin to make more loving decisions. I don't think love has a dual aspect. I don't think there's a front door and a back door to love. Love is love, and everything else is just dualistic in the world of dualism. And so love is the only true reality. I believe that we have come from love, and one day we will return to love. And the journey of life is awakening to the love that we are. And so in each and every moment in the song is saying, like, what it comes down to is just making a loving decision in every moment, because we have a decision to make in every moment. Do we go this way or that way? And the choice and the way is always to choose the loving decision to awaken, to arrive at even more love, because, I do believe that love is inexhaustible. As love is self-replenishing, and it never dies. And so it's just an endless reservoir. And the more we give it, the more we receive. The more we give it, the more we receive, because it's the nature of God. It's of the nature of God, and God is love. And so I don't think it's a dualistic thing. And like you said earlier, we have human aspects to ourselves, and that's what we have to deal with. And love is that power that helps us transform that humanness that creates pain, that is always seeking pleasure, and just to come back to simply love and resting in love and being loving to every creature, every being, every entity that you encounter. So in my own journey, I've learned to love even more, because I understand that love heals as well. Love is the power that heals, and the more that we tap into, loving on ourselves and loving on everybody associated with us, we become more enlightening and more enlightened and more enlivened beings. Just through the power of love.
And I think a good example to really hone in and express the idea of love is, you know how, say if you have a bad reaction, somebody say something to you, and you're like, you might say you cuss them out, right? And then they go cuss you out, because now this is bad energy with bad energy, negativity with negativity. Versus somebody cuss you out, and you respond in love, then they question themselves like, dang, maybe I should never approach the person like that. And then they have to do some self-reflecting, and then now they're going to come back to you with love. And I'm just like, I think that really defines what love really is. It's a reflection of each other, right? And the more we're able to express love and see that our behaviors is not truly out of love, then I think we can get somewhere as a society.
We can truly get somewhere. Like you said, just making the loving decisions, the choice to be love in the face of fear and anger and disappointment, just choosing to be love. It changes every cell in your body. It changes every muscle in your body. It changes every particle of your mind just to be love. And as we choose love, and love is not always quiet and soft. Love is fierce in some moments where it has to be fierce. And so it's always coming back to, I feel like it's always coming back to your heart and choosing to be love in the face of everything that you face, because only love is real, and love always wins. They say love always wins. And so if you're going to be a winner, if you're going to succeed in life, to make the loving decisions for yourself and for the people around you.
Yes. Yeah. And there is no greater love than your children. Right? I have two beautiful daughters.
Give thanks.
And I never really with them, I can understand unconditional love. No matter what they do, I am going to love them. You know what I'm saying? And I'm like, wow, this is real love, because they be like, love is unconditional, but then it has conditions. Right? But how is it being a father? Because that can...
It is supernatural. I feel like a hero every day.
Yeah.
I feel like a hero every day. I just feel so... I never felt that type of love before. Like you said, It's really unconditional. It's like every day, my daughter, she wakes up with a smile on her face, with joy in her heart. And, that's contagious. That's contagious. So, and, that's a reflection of the work that I've done and the work that my wife and I have done to bring in that type of joyful, loving soul. Her name is Serenity. And she brings just that. She brings
Yeah.
serenity of the heart. She brings serenity of the heart, which is love.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I heard her on the track too. I was like,
Oh,
okay,
yeah.
Serenity.
I believe she was probably like 6 or 7 months then.
Okay.
Yeah, she was looking at a picture. Well, some of that was a clip of her. She was in a walker just going down the street yelling, da da, da da, da da. And the second
Yeah.
time she was pointing at a picture of myself on the shirt. Yeah,
Wow. That is so beautiful.
yeah. She's the greatest
Daughters.
joy.
Do you feel like what's the we all have things that we want to teach our children.
Yeah.
Right? Do you have anything that come to mind to say like I want to teach her this? For me, with my daughters, I just want to give them a really good foundation.
Yeah.
Like because you say that 7 years is very critical. It's very important. And sometimes we can overlook that. It can go over our heads.
Yeah.
That how your child is absorbing everything that you do.
Yeah.
Right. So if you have a bad attitude, if you don't want to play with them, if they, like they seeing how you treat other people, they're going to mimic you.
Yeah.
And, as time goes on too, with the school system, religion, and all of these other people influencing the child, cartoons and movies, it's hard to really create a foundation for your child that's from the actual parent. So what is one thing that you wish for your daughter?
I wish her peace and serenity always, and a closeness to God. I think I cannot teach that. I can only be that. And she's already filled with the Spirit, and so it's just to keep her filled with the Spirit, to allow her to see me, to witness me and my wife commune with God and talk to God and pray to God. I think that's because life is going to be life. Life is going to be life. And so if you don't have God, you don't have life, and you live a life of suffering. And so I do just pray that she continues to, stay connected to the God in her. That's more than anything. And you can't teach that. You can only like live that and embody that and pray for that, because life is going to life. We're not going to, she's going to experience micro traumas and hopefully just micro traumas in her life. And, that's okay. That's okay.
Yeah.
That's the contrast of life. You will experience trauma. There's no one's life without trauma. And so I don't want to purposely inflict that on her, but I'm, because I'm conscious. But I know it's inevitable that she would experience it in some type of way because that's her experience. And so it's always to just keep her connected with love, and keep her connected with herself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And now I want to go into the mother, right? Your wife.
Yeah.
Man, it is hard nowadays to find relationships because, social media is changing the way we interact with people. And then you have the different standards. And sometimes it seems like men are against women and women are against men. So how did you know she was the one?
Well, I told you earlier, I had to go on a withdrawal period. I had to stop relationships and be completely celibate, not to find a wife, but for myself. To master myself a little bit more, to know myself a little bit more, to commune with God a little bit more. It was my season of just me, investing in me, pouring into me, loving on me. And so that was part of my practice. That was a part of my sadhana. That was a part of my spiritual, like my routine. And so when you know, question it, And my life was clear enough to actually know. They say be still and know. And so when you're still, you don't have to question it because your mind is not going here and there looking for that person, looking for somebody. That thing comes to you. And we both came to each other because we were both obedient to the will of God in our lives and the voice of God in our lives telling us to, just hone in, just focus in, tunnel vision on you, So it's not like neither of us were looking for each other, but God brought us together because, for the greater mission of our lives, for the greater mission of love and, to love on each other, like we deserve to be loved.
Okay.
Yeah.
And, I think they say like there's a 50% divorce rate in marriages.
I don't even know that. So, I don't even check the rate.
And I'm only saying that because, relationships do have, ups and downs and challenging moments. So what are some of the challenges you face in your marriage?
My wife and I are very strong individuals, We're very headstrong, and so that is probably perhaps the biggest difficulty is a difference of opinion on things. But yeah, that's the biggest thing is a difference of opinion, difference of perspective. But perspective can be like we can find a middle ground in opinion. We're both very headstrong and very intelligent beings, and so that's the biggest difficulty that we have is with just the way that we perceive things and view things and our opinions on things. But all those things can be worked through. I think it's too easy to give up in these days. It's too easy to just say, okay, on to the next. But life is more than that. You can't run away from you. You can't run away from you. And so with every person that you meet, even if that person was valid in leaving you or you were valid in leaving them, you will always meet yourself. And not to say it won't get better, but you got to get better first. You got to get better first. So I think that's the key to a healthy marriage and a marriage of longevity is to keep choosing that person and keep choosing you and saying that this is not going to stop me from getting better because this person is a reflection before me to show me my darkness, to show me where I am lacking. And most men can't take that. Most people can't take that. To have a clear mirror before you and not judge that and not judge yourself. Just choose to change. Just choose love, because at the end of the day, you got to do the work. You have to do it. You have to do the work.
Yes.
And every relationship will bring up, the things that you need to deal with. And so, while we have this life, while you have your wife, while you have your husband, your boyfriend, and your girlfriend, do the work, because that's a great opportunity to awaken.
Yes.
Yeah.
And this is a perfect time for our health break.
Yes,
So I
ma'am.
have you a gift. So I have a manufacturing company where I manufacture health food products, and one of my top selling products are sea moss gels.
I need
Have you
that.
ever had sea moss?
I have, yeah.
Okay. Well, let me see. You never had mine.
No, I've never had this
So-
version, this brand. I
So
give
yes,
thanks.
I would like for you to try it. I got you a wooden spoon.
Okay,
Not
give
wood,
thanks.
But cardboard.
And this is
And
peach.
this is a mango papaya.
I never had that mix though.
Yeah.
I never had that mix.
Pop the seal.
It's fresh too.
It
It's
is.
real fresh. It's real fresh. It's tasty too, and it's smooth. Most sea moss when it's flavored, it doesn't have much flavor to it. Doesn't have much. It doesn't have too much flavor. It has the right amount of flavor. It's smooth. It's creamy. It feels like, I don't know. It feels like heaven in my mouth. Really, it feels like serenity in my mouth.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it has like a tingling, like a not really. You know how like the feeling of ginger makes you feel? It has that feeling like it's like uppity.
Yeah.
That's what I'm
Yeah,
trying
yeah,
to say.
yeah,
It's
yeah,
uppity.
yeah.
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 Can I have some more?
Yeah, go for it.
Give thanks. I'm gonna just have this whole thing though.
No, that's what happened. You take one scoop, then you want to take another one and another one because it's really good.
Yeah.
And it's really healthy.
This is the best sea moss that I've ever tasted. Honestly.
Thank you.
Honestly.
Yeah.
Like I've always when I have sea moss, I know it's good for me, but because the way it goes down and the way that it feels when it goes down, I just avoid it. But this is like you can like really literally just eat this one thing in one sitting. It's really that good.
Yay.
I'm gonna need a whole case of these for
That's
real.
good. We're based out of Atlanta. We ship. We're in stores as well. So I don't know if you go to any of the local health food stores around
Y'all in
here.
7 Under?
Yep.
Okay, for sure.
Yep.
Urban Flow.
Yep.
I like that name too.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
cop that.
Hey.
Tap in, tune in. We're gonna leave that right there the whole time.
Okay.
That's our guest.
That works. So this is a good time to pivot and talk about your health journey, right?
Yeah.
With spirituality, with becoming a better person, your health plays a big part into that. Right? What we consume affects our mind. It affects how we feel. It affects our digestive system. It affects a lot of parts of us that I don't know if we give enough credit to.
Yeah.
So tell me about your health journey. Would you how do you incorporate health in your daily life?
I do try to eat the right things. I do try to fuel myself with the right herbs. I have a few tonics from Dr. Sebi, the few herbs that he has in tonic form. I'm not a big stickler for health in that way. For me, health starts with, what I'm reading, what I'm thinking, what I'm, What I'm talking about, health starts there for me, and that kind of guides the conversation with the foods that I'm having, with the things that I consume. My diet is 50% plant-based, 50% other. As of this year, I was plant-based for 7, 8 years, and I went to Carnival, Trinidadian Carnival for the first time. And when you go to Trinidad, you have to taste the food. You just can't be out there just eating grass and lettuce the whole time. You have to
Right.
taste the culture. There's a big African culture, big Indian culture, so you have to taste the food. And I I broke my vegan plant-based diet for a week, and into the year this year I may have like chicken or something from my godmother, but my diet is very based on how I'm feeling. How I'm feeling in my body. Because sometimes, well, especially in this season of my life, I feel like my body needs more meats and to integrate it into it. I was plant based for 6, 7 years, and I became very spacey. Very spacey, very out of my body. I wasn't connected with my personality. I would forget my whole history of life, and so I had to, bring meats into my diet to integrate me back into the body, to awaken my body, because I was really spacey. I was really spacey. I was really a bodhisattva. So to really integrate me back into my body, I had to integrate more meats, because I felt disconnected from like the physical incarnation. Yeah.
Okay, I never heard of
Yeah.
that, but that's a really interesting perspective. You also talk about your mind,
Yeah.
your body, and your soul.
Yeah.
I think that's the three things you mentioned in one of your songs.
Yeah.
And so you're in the gym.
Yeah, I'm in the
Right.
gym sometimes.
Yeah.
Sometimes, not every day.
Yeah.
I really work out for my mind though. I really work out to get my mind going, to get my mind flowing, and of course to take care of the physical body, to take care of the physical vessel. But I really like a top-down approach most of the time, like coming from the soul, then into the mind, then into the body. So my day is meditation, and then some writing, and then the gym.
Okay.
And so I like to go top down, because you water the root, the rest will flower. And so working with the soul, every morning, praying, communing with God, worshiping, and, meditating, to settle the mind, calm the mind, and then get into the body with exercise and running. I really like to run still as well. I try to run at least a mile a day on the treadmill while I'm working out. And other than that, I really just stay close to God. I think that's my biggest health tip, is just to stay close to God. That will keep you young. That will keep you joyful. That will keep you happy, because, you have people in the gym, they're working out for the wrong reasons. You have people who, plant-based, but they're not tuned in with God like that. And so, their minds is just on so many different things. And so if you want to water the mind and take care of the mind and soul, it's best to commune with the Most High.
Right.
Yeah.
Yes. So when you talk about your meditation practice, can you what's the goal for meditation? Because we can have different different intentions with meditation, right? It can be to clear the mind, to focus the mind on just one affirmation. So what is your goal when you go into meditation? And give the people like an example of like how do you talk to yourself? How do you talk to God during that time?
Yeah, beautiful question. I think for me, there is no quite goal to meditation. Because for meditation to really work, you have to surrender yourself. And so for meditation, for me, meditation is surrendering your mind, your heart, your soul to the Most High, and allowing yourself to be filled. It's not about you in meditation. It's not about what your goals and what you can do and what you receive. It's just about opening yourself up to receive. And so for me, I'm a practitioner of Kriya Yoga, and that is the spinal cord, breathing up into the medulla, into the crown, into the third eye. And just offering the inhaling breath to the outgoing breath. I do that 12 times, and I just allow myself to be after that. So it's really a practice of allowing, watching the mind, not trying to manipulate the mind, stop the mind from being the mind, because the mind gonna be the mind always. It's always gonna go, 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 go. And so it's being
Then I'm observer.
being a witness to all of that, and allowing myself to completely dissolve into what they call nirvana or nothingness. Is just receiving. I think a practice of just being still for 5 minutes every day, not judging anything, and telling yourself, I don't have to do anything. I don't have to do anything. And because in meditation, we feel like we have to do so much. I'm thinking about my day. I'm thinking about my yesterday. And so I tell myself 5 minutes, try to 5 minutes on the hour, I don't have to do anything. Even if I have to do something, that puts you in a receptivity mode, puts you in a receptive capacity to receive the Spirit. Because we're not really doing anything. All of this is God incarnating in body, breathing into body, Spirit coming into body, animating the body. And so we forget that. We think we're the doers. We think that we have to take care of the kids and we have to wash the dishes, take out the trash. We have to do those things, but we can do those things and let God be God. Because God is the voice, God is the breath, and God is the force that animates this life. And so knowing that it's okay to let God take the wheel. They say Jesus take the wheel, but it's okay to let God take the wheel and live in your life and surrender completely to the will of God in your life. And that takes practice, though. It takes practice. It takes, humbling yourself in the face of God, Lord Almighty, and knowing that, that is the controller. That is the one that achieves. That is the one that succeeds. That is the one that does everything. And we are so grateful to go along for the ride.
Yes.
Yeah.
The art of surrendering.
Yeah.
It could be a challenging thing, right?
Yeah.
Because we're doers in the world.
And we build up to be somebody. You have to be somebody. Yeah.
And we have a lot of expectations on us. So sitting still seems like we're wasting time.
Yeah.
But then when you really think about it, we sit still more nowadays than we have ever been before, right? Especially with technology, television, Netflix, Hulu, these subscriptions. We're sitting down and being still, but we're just being distracted.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So if I would encourage anyone out there, 5 minutes a day, you said, come on, you can do that.
Yeah, you can do that. I don't have to do anything. Yeah, just allowing yourself to say, I don't have to do anything. Everything will take care of itself because it will.
It sounds so peaceful, even saying it. Like, I don't have to do anything.
Yeah.
It brings a relief. Now you feel calm. You're like, okay, I don't have to do anything.
Yeah, and you can receive the Spirit. Like inspiration is receiving the Spirit. And so meditation for me is a place to just receive the inspiration that is destined for my life. To receive the instructions for my life. I'm not thinking about what's coming in, but I'm receiving. And then as I go about my life and I go about my day, it naturally happens. And I say, oh, that was that feeling. I remember coming out of meditation and thinking that, but I wasn't consciously thinking it. It was going into my subconscious mind. And someday when the right stimulus approached, it came out. And so meditation is really for God to do his work.
Do you feel like your life is written?
I feel like it is being written. I think, past and future are but dreams. And so the present is the only reality. And so God is always writing in the present moment. God is not in the past. God is not in the future. Everything is happening right now, and God is here right now. And so it's really allowing the story to be written through me, through us, and being a part of that journey by, being more watchful, being more in devotion to God, giving thanks and gratitude for everything that happens, good or bad, because it is the movement of God,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because sometimes I'll be like, I think that the way my life flows so easily and effortlessly, I'm like, I feel like this is written, life is really working for me in a way that I couldn't imagine. Even the way that we were able to meet, I didn't know how it was going to happen. I just knew it was going to happen, you know? And on the episode with Lizzie Jeff, she asked me, like, if you had your dream person, dream guest on, who would it be? And I'm like, Londrelle.
Give thanks.
So she was like, oh, yeah. You're like, okay, like, yeah, that can happen,
Yeah.
And for her to come out here is 444, 888.
Yeah, same thing, though. Yeah. Same
it's
rhythm.
888. She's out here for a birthday bash. Y'all just so happened to do the listening party together. And I'm just like, now look at the
God.
perfect moment for literally everyone to be together in the same space and for opportunities to really take place. And I'm like, yo, this is crazy. So
Yeah. It's really crazy, magnificent. I appreciate you for sending out the signal, for agreeing with that moment and allowing it to happen. Because most people want to try to force it to happen, but to allow it to happen because you have trust in yourself, you have belief in your path and your journey to know that whatever is due is like it's already written. It's like I'm doing it like it's already written, and so it takes that type of confidence and self, really, and composure and peace within yourself to know that whatever I think it will happen, I just have to keep moving toward it.
Exactly. And that's really all it is. Once you know, and I feel like the way God shows you is through ease.
Yeah, for
when
sure.
You're trying to fight through something and trying hard to make it work, it's probably not for you.
Yeah.
And like starting this podcast and, betting on myself,
Yeah.
putting the floors in, putting the walls in, and doing all of this cameras, lights, and
Yeah.
all of that. And I'm like, this is the biggest I ever betted
Yeah,
on
this is a
myself.
big bet.
Like,
This is a big bet for
like it
sure.
gotta work or it gotta work. But the way it's
Yeah.
been working and the way it's been flowing, I don't know. I just be in gratitude. 'Cause
Yeah.
I'm like, yo, and I always feel like I be like, anybody can do it. If you
Mm-hmm.
have a passion, if you're passionate about something, it's possible.
Yeah.
Right? Like you say, it requires a surrendering and it requires a letting go. Letting go is not easy.
Nah.
Like it's hard because imagine someone eating the same diet for 30 plus years and you tell them what they've been eating is not good for them.
Yeah.
It's not, they can't just change tomorrow because they're programmed to a way of living. So what tips would you give someone that's like, okay, I'm not satisfied with my life right now and I need to let some things go? Because like you say, you have to let some people go through your
Yeah.
journey, maybe
Yeah.
let go of some bad habits you had
sure.
that you had within yourself. How did you let go? Like what's one piece of advice you can give to people?
That's a very good question. For me, it's always personal. It's always personal. It's always about making the decision for you, because at the end of the day, all you have is you. And so if you want to be better, you have to do it not for other people to see you be better, but for you to be better. And we know our vices. We know the things that take us down, because we have that consciousness within us, that awareness within us to know that this is not taking me the route that I want to go. And you have to be able to look at yourself in that way to say, okay, I see myself doing these things that are taking me in the wrong way. Let me witness myself. Let me watch myself. I know where this is taking me. Let me make the more loving decision for myself and for the people around me, so that I can be better. So it's really about you. It's really about like your reasons why. You have to have a big why. Why you want to do this, why you want to change, why you want to grow, why you want to evolve. Because if you don't have a why, the how can't happen. The how can't happen. So once you set down the why, the how naturally unfolds, because consciousness follows consciousness. So once you make a decision on like, this is a big why, like I'm betting big on this thing, it's like the consciousness, the awareness, the spirit to do that comes. And most people fight that spirit and resist that spirit, but that is the spirit of God coming to transform us in the way that we want to be transformed, because God only created us in his image and not outside of that image. So it's naturally for us to want to grow, to evolve, to expand, to be fruitful and multiply. That's in our nature. That's what we're created to do. And so as we go against that, there's still that little tiny voice in our head telling us which way to go. And the more we listen to that tiny voice, it becomes the voice, the only voice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that voice that you got is so tiny. It's
Yeah.
so small. It's so quiet.
Yeah.
So you really have to have that inner peace within to hear it clearly.
Yeah.
Because sometimes they say, well, how do I discern between like God's voice and then my voice or the devil's
Yeah.
voice or whatever? So like,
Yeah.
did you ever have to go through any discernment period between the voices?
Yeah, it's always that. It's always like it's a constant practice, because we live in a world of temptation. We live in the devil's kitchen. Honestly, we do. And so it's always being discerning and always trusting the voice of God, even when I'm in the devil's kitchen, because, we have to be the light wherever we are. And so it's always coming back to, for me, I trust God enough to know that everything that I do is the will of God. Everything that I say, everything I speak is the will of God, because I'm just that surrendered, and I trust that voice to come through me always. And so, but when we're far away from that voice, it seems very tiny. But if we commune with that voice every day, if we making our relationship with God just as important as our relationship with our job, our family, our children, our the people that we love, then it would be just like we're talking to a person right here, because God is in the flesh right here and now, but we don't see that. We see a person and we see ourselves. But if we can grow closer to that voice, we begin to understand that, I am my father are one, I am my mother are one, I am in creation are one, and I'm always speaking to God, looking to God, and, communing with God. Yeah.
And why is that I am so important?
The I am is so important because I think that's all that we are. That's all what we are. The I am is the watcher, the witness, the first person awareness of self, first person awareness of presence, or presence awareness. So I being first person and am being the presence in the being. And so as we come back to I am, we come back to all that we are, and everything that we say after I am, we become. I am is the spirit that fills the cup. I am is the water that fills the cup. that animates the body. And so I am is a game changer and in your life, and and who you are, and realizing yourself.
So
Yeah.
who are you?
I am. I am a servant of His Majesty. I am a child of God. Um, I am a servant of God. I am a vessel of God, and I am you. Yeah, and we are we.
Yeah.
Yeah, we are us.
So, okay, you're a Londrelle, right?
Yeah, I
And
am. Now,
are
yeah,
you?
okay.
No.
Now I am. Yeah, yeah. Now I
Yeah.
am. Yeah.
So, what are some misconceptions people have of you? So, it's a social media
Yeah.
presence, and people can think, oh, I feel
Yeah.
like I know you. I listen to
Yeah.
your music, I watch you on social media. So, what are some of the misconceptions people have?
I don't really. I mean, if there are misconceptions, I don't see them, I don't hear them, I don't notice them. I think I'm always being true and honest to myself, so I don't give off a false signal, about myself. I'm totally honest in my music. I don't lie. I don't. I don't cut corners. I tell the truth about myself and my life, and I don't have a reason to. I don't
Yeah.
have a reason to send off mixed signals. I don't have a reason to send off, misconceptions. I think misconceptions come with, people in their own inhibitions and their own self-denial. But, that's just not something that I would, even entertain the misconceptions, because I'm just being true. I'm just being honest. I'm just being myself. And so if
Yeah.
there are misconceptions, that, they're really not my problem, not my MO.
Okay,
Yeah.
I like that. I like that.
Yeah.
Sometimes with the like a spiritual community and things
Yeah.
like that, people can think, oh yeah,
Yeah.
he had a spiritual awakening. He was
Yeah.
on mushrooms.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Or
for sure.
like they might think you smoke marijuana. You know what
I
I'm
do
saying?
sometimes.
Yeah.
Sometimes. I mean, and I put that in the music, and so it's really like I don't hide from anything, because I have to tell the truth about my life and myself, because that's my covenant with God. I have to tell the truth, and so I don't expect misconceptions, because I try to be as honest and open and vulnerable as possible when I speak, when I rap, when I talk, when I do anything. I try to be as vulnerable as possible. So I hope I don't create misconceptions. I hope I don't create this image of being perfect, because I try to explain everything right there and tell you who I am, what I've been through, and what I'm going through.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, I love that
Yeah.
transparency
Yeah.
and the vulnerability, because it takes
Yeah.
a lot for a man to be vulnerable,
Yeah.
right? Especially, growing up, and even the idea of you being silenced
Yeah.
or feeling reserved as a child and not being able to express yourself. I can only imagine the breakthrough you had to go through to be open, to be vulnerable, and to not be perfect,
Yeah.
right? Because I feel like in a world, everybody want to be perfect,
Yeah.
especially with social media. We want to put on the best,
Yeah.
our best performance, our best clothes, our best,
Yeah.
when we get home and
Yeah.
we undress, we are not our best,
Nah, nah, yeah.
So thank you for being courageous in your music and everything you do. I did want to backtrack for 1 second, and I wanted to talk about the relationship with your mom, and have you had a conversation with her about some of the things you dealt with in childhood?
Yeah. Yeah. Beautiful question. I do try to put that all in music. There was a song called Healing Conversations, which I talk about the conversation. And so it's not just like, okay, she did all those things and I did nothing about it. And so we did have a conversation about when that album come out, 2021. So in about 2021, 2022, we had that conversation about why she did what she did, and me not really confronting her, but me wanting to know, like, why were you so mean? Why were you so abusive? Why were you the way that you were? And listening to her tell her story, her side of the story, it really opened up a channel for healing, and the channel to not resolve, but to continue to mend that relationship. And so it was. It still is very healing, because I go back to that song and I go back to that conversation to remember why she was the way that she was, her programming. And so it allowed me to forgive her, and that forgiveness brought an opening in my heart that was closed off to her, to people in general, for whatever reason. And so yeah, it's been it was a healing song, and it's also a continuous healing in my life. Yeah.
It's because I seen her at the listening party, and I was like, I think you shouted her out. Was your mom there?
No, that was
No?
my other mom. That was my god mom.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay. Because I'm
Yeah.
like, I remember you said something like,
Yeah.
oh, okay, look, his mom showing up.
She was
supporting
at
him.
the
That's-
Dharma Glow, though. She was at Dharma Glow last year.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Perfect. Well, that's amazing, and I think our relationship with our parents are so important, because that's the relationship that kind of shape our
Yeah.
foundation of any relationship we have after,
Yeah.
childhood. So for you to go back and have that conversation with her, I think is very profound,
Yeah.
because sometimes we don't know our parents.
Yeah, we don't.
We only know them from the experience
Yeah.
they gave us, but we don't know them and what they've
Yeah,
been
as
through.
human beings and
So to
people.
bridge that gap, I mean, I'm sure now you have so much grace for her,
Yeah.
and you understand her on a different level. So if anyone is out there, and if you're having any like relationship problems with your parents, I encourage you, have a conversation.
Yeah.
Not a judgmental one. Don't come. I used to, like, when I used to have conversations with my parents,
Yeah.
it used to be like, you ain't do this, you ain't do that.
Yeah.
you know? But coming from a space of just, hey, I want to connect and I want to understand
Yeah.
you and I want to hear your story. I feel like that could be so profound.
Yeah, it's a
So,
game changer because it opens your heart to a space that was closed off to your parents or to that person in a certain way. And so in life we always have to face what we've done, but we also have to face what we've been through. And so to avoid it is to choose darkness, is to choose suffering, to choose the opposite of healing. So the quicker that you can do it, the more that you can open up that wound and allow yourself to be healed. But most people, they fear that because, they have a vengeance or a grudge against that person or those people. But it's the best thing that you can do for yourself is to set yourself free from that unforgiveness. Yeah.
and you talked about your mental health, right? You read books. So
Yeah.
let the people know some books you have read on your journey that has helped you, books, movies, anything that has helped you.
One book was the autobiography of a yogi by Paramahansa Yogananda. Another book is The Way of Transformation by Yeshua. Another book is the Bhagavad Gita, India's ancient text. Think and Grow Rich is always a favorite of mine. The Purpose-Filled Life, I forget who that book was by, but The Purpose-Filled Life was one book that changed and completely transformed my life. That is perhaps the top books in my books as well. Self-Care Package, Eternal Sunshine, and Sunflower Soul is all the motivation and inspiration that I got from those books. So, but I think more scriptural texts are my most inspiring books. The Vedas, the Upanishads, the Bible, of course, and the Bhagavad Gita. So yeah, I just love scriptures. I just
Okay.
love scriptures.
Perfect.
Yeah.
And so we can't just skip past this part, right? Because there might be someone that's an artist listening and say,
Yeah.
like, okay, how can I? Because being an artist, now I always call you artist, and some
Yeah.
people like, wait,
Yeah.
what type of artist is he?
Yeah.
But being in the industry of producing music,
Yeah.
it's a business
Yeah.
behind this thing, right? Like you just not you doing it from a sincere, heartfelt place.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, you still have a family you have to feed. So tell me about some of the ways you're able to combine the two, your music and business together.
I think I've always been, in some sense, some sort of like hustler. I always had a hustle growing up, and so I've always known how to get money, in some sort of way, and so in a legal way, of course. And so that's never been a problem. My dad, he was murdered when I was 11 months old, and so he was a drug dealer. My mom as well, and so that's always been in me to like know how to get money. But I have talents, I have gifts, and I know how to use that to just to promote myself, just to put myself out there. But money is not something that, like, business is not something that I totally like think about. I think it's in me, it's innate, but I really just focus on really my service. I really just focus on, how can I serve? How can I make this world a better place? How can I give of myself, because God has given me so much? And for me, that determines all the moves that I make, because that connects me with the right people, that connects my music with the right people that need to hear that God's message. And so for me, it's really trusting, like, we live in an age where everybody's an entrepreneur and everybody's a businesswoman and a businessman, which is cool. But I stand on the Father's business. I stand on God's business. And for me, that's the greatest business to stand on. And so for me, everything comes easy, like you said, easy, effortlessly, because I'm moving with a higher intelligence. I'm moving with the greatest intelligence to do that will. And, I don't really have strategy. I just do God's will and I just allow it to be done in me.
Okay.
And so, as far as like business and strategy, and I just say bet on yourself, bet on yourself, invest in yourself, invest in the things that you need to promote yourself, to advertise yourself. And, you can not do it all by yourself, but as you invest in yourself, that will come back to you tenfold,
Yeah.
tenfold.
And you created, is it a label?
Yeah, Most High Music is more than a label. It's really a partnership between, the above and the below. It's really a connection with the ancestors, the voice of the ancestors, the music, the message of the ancestors for our people. And so it's really more than a label. I just started it, but I really feel that it's more than a label. It's a movement of God's people, and so music is just that first channel to do that. And so, but music is more than just a nice rhyme on a beat. Music is conversation. Music is the service that we do. Making
Like Nipsey said on one of the tracks,
What's that?
music is spiritual.
Well, yeah,
Yeah.
for sure. So music is the thing that I'm using right now to awaken, to enliven, to enlighten the people. But it goes further than music in the form of just raps and beats. Yeah.
Hey, that is so beautiful. But if you all haven't checked out the album, I would encourage
Tap
you to.
in.
We got Lizzie Jeff on it. We got
Tone levels.
Tone Levels. You got the voiceovers of Nipsey Hussle,
Yeah.
Rev Ike.
Tupac on there. Tupac for sure. Yeah, and my daughter Serenity's on there.
Yeah, so if you all haven't, please check it out. It's on all platforms.
It's on all platforms. Anywhere that you can listen to music is there. It may be just in the ethers if you listen really closely, though.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah, you may just hear it in
You might just
meditation.
hear it, right? That's
Yeah.
real. All right, before we get out of here, I ask every guest one last question. What is one piece of advice you would like to share to the world?
Going back to what we said earlier, always choose love. Always choose love. When you're faced with adversity, when you're faced with fear, when you're faced with anything, make the loving decision. Make the decision to awaken, because every time you choose love, you choose to awaken. And every time you go against the choice of love, you choose to stay in slumber, to stay in fear, to stay in anxiety, to stay in depression. So even when it doesn't make sense, choose love, because love will give you freedom, and love is the only liberation. Yeah.
And there you all have it, ladies and gentlemen. Londrelle on Holistic Conversations. If you took anything away from today's episode, make sure you put it in the comments. Let us know, what did you think, okay? And also drop in the comments your favorite song off the album.
Yeah.
Right? Let us
Kingdom
know.
Child, 333 in Babylon. That's my favorite song.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right. And let the people know where they can find you.
You can find me on Instagram at Londrelle. You can find me on X. I think that's what they call it, X, at Londrelle. You can find me on Threads at Londrelle, YouTube at Londrelle. Everywhere that you can find an at, you can find me at Londrelle. Yeah.
Hey.
Give thanks. All praises to the highest.
Thank
All
you so
praises
much
to
for
the most.
coming on. And thank you all for tuning in. I'll catch you next time.